So it's looking like Marvel's relying on a roster of second stringers this time around to bring us back to the glory days and make us care about the future of the MCU again. And luckily for them, it kind of worked. Thunderbolts is the latest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it tells the story of 7 disillusioned cast-offs who must embark on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their pasts after finding themselves ensnared in a death trap. So this is a movie that I have definitely been excited for ever since I heard that it was first coming out. The MCU hasn't exactly been trending in the right direction for a lot of people, myself included. But for better or worse, I've gone on record numerous times saying that I'm putting my money on this being the best comic book movie of the entire year. It just felt like it had this underdog, gritty quality to it and was being made by people that really wanted to bring Marvel back to its Infinity Saga era. And after seeing the film for myself, it might not be the complete home run I was hoping it would be, but Thunderbolts definitely does a pretty good job of recapturing some of that much needed early MCU magic. Let's talk about the heavy story they decided to go with here, because that's really what sets this entry apart from a lot of other Marvel movies. If you're walking into this one expecting the lighthearted tone of something like a Thor Ragnarok or an Ant-Man, you're gonna end up booking a session with your therapist by the time the credits roll. But the more grounded and bleak tone is nothing short of refreshing this time around, because after years of the MCU injecting unwanted comedic moments into their films and undercutting any real drama that comes along, they finally have a group of characters that have some serious trauma to unpack, and they actually let it happen. I mean, some of the topics dealt with here revolve around depression, self-doubt, unresolved trauma, and emotionally, it makes Thanos' snap look like it's a scene from a Hallmark movie by comparison. Structurally, I don't think the way the story flows is as balanced as it could have been, and it kind of just feels like there's a very long and drawn out first act before it jumps right into the conclusion after a while, but allowing the movie to delve into these waters as a way of making us care about these characters is definitely a plus. When it comes to the performances here, this might not be a movie that's completely flooded with A-listers from front to back, but it still has a super deep and impressive roster at its disposal. Obviously, you have Florence Pugh leading the charge at the center of it all, but with names like Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, and Wyatt Russell backing up the rear, you know you're in good hands. And thank God for that, honestly, because the performances are definitely an area of this film that you have to nail to make something more character-driven like this even have a shot at working in this genre. The vast majority of the plot in this movie runs through this group of outcasts and the inner demons they're trying to work through, and the performances make you completely buy into that. Florence Pugh definitely brings her A-game here as the glue holding this shit show of a team together, and Lewis Pullman does a good job in an almost dual role. But I'd be lying if I said that David Harbour didn't steal the show as Red Guardian once again. He's basically just playing a Russian version of the Kool-Aid Man, but I'm here for it. Let's talk a bit about the action in the film, because that was definitely one of my most anticipated aspects of this project, but I was surprised to see that there really wasn't a ton of it when you stack what you get here against that of the usual Marvel outing. Our director this time around, Jake Schreier, isn't exactly known for his work within the action genre, and usually spends his time producing dramas and adapting teen romance novels. But when it's time for him to dig into his little bag of tricks and show us something, I think those scenes do end up delivering. You gotta remember that the vast majority of the characters that make up the Thunderbolts don't really have any big visual superpowers. They're all just really good at fistfighting and shooting people with guns. So the sequences they throw at us are a lot more realistic and tactical for the most part. But down the stretch, once Sentry is thrown into the mix, the action definitely veers back into that larger-than-life superhero territory, and it doesn't disappoint. The team's first encounter with him is shot in a really cool way and does a good job of showcasing what he's truly capable of, even if they only decide to take the training wheels off a couple of different times in this movie. There's a lot more emotion behind the action this time around, though, which offers up a nice change of pace from what I was expecting. Overall, guys, Thunderbolts definitely feels like a breath of fresh air when you look at the last few entries out of the franchise. The story is emotional, the performances are handled well, and the technicals feel a lot more polished than they have in recent years. Florence Pugh anchors herself at the center of this narrative that goes darker than any Marvel film has gone before, and even though it all still kind of feels familiar, and I wish there were a few more notable story beats, this is a much-needed win for the MCU. Thunderbolts gets a Sully score of 3.5 stars. So that's my review of the latest Marvel film. What do you think is the best MCU movie of Phase 5? I have to go with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next one.